Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajayana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajayana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanyachari Tira Vanyachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajayana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajayana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanyachari Tira Vanyachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Murlidhar Shri Radhe, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. So this bhajan is a nice two-line bhajan, Jai Radha Madhav, Jai Kunja Bihari. It essentially gives us the entire mood of Vrindavan, how things are there in Vrindavan, how everyone is, how Krishna is in center and everyone is looking after him. Nice sweet bhajan to start with. So a very good afternoon to every one of you. Thank you for joining our session. We are continuing our discussion. Hi Purvi, hi Niti, thanks for joining. Let me share my screen. So today we'll continue our discussion on the topic, what I believe, how does it matter? Well, this discussion was supposed to go for 2 sessions, but Today is the third session, and we'll see how long we can, how long it takes for this session because we felt that there is still a lot to cover under this topic. So that's why we are continuing this session, and there's no rush to complete the course as just for the sake of completing it. So we want to give it proper time and then go from there. Before that, I'll just offer my prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I offer my respectful humble obeisances unto the spiritual master who opened my darkened eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. So, anyone wants to discuss about, give some points, how did we arrive here? I mean, where we are, what we discussed in last two sessions, some highlights, some points, some realizations, anything.
We discussed about the purpose of our life in the last session, and how our purpose is to achieve, to achieve self-realization and not stay in the trap of, the general vices of life, to grow above from that.
Self-realization. Okay. Thank you, Niti.
We discussed about how do we spiritually evolve ourselves and associate ourselves with the spiritual life, like along with the material things that we do in the universe. How do we evolve, and then what are the ways that we can do to associate ourselves in the spiritual aspects?
Okay. Anyone else? Purvi, Ram, Pooja, Sona wants to give it a try? What we have discussed or sum up?
We discussed about who we really are. Like, are we a soul or like body? The importance of soul. More about the importance of soul.
Okay. Importance of soul. Okay. So in the first session, we discussed about the world view. What is the world view? Each one of us have our own world view, and how to determine what is the correct world view. Like we discussed about a couple from Pune. That couple was working together, a boy and a girl. Then they decided to move in together, live in together. Then they had the girl got pregnant. She aborted the child, and then they got married after a couple of years. Then again had a kid. Then the boy started having affair outside, so the girl broke up the marriage. They divorced, and the son was later on in the custody of the grandparents. So both of them had their views, like I'll do what I like, and it is what pleases me. It's about what I am comfortable with, not following any laws, regulations, bindings. And what happened in that case? It's a complete dismay of the life. We are spoiling our life by our own hand. Then we looked at one example of two friends, one both studying together in the college. One goes into IIT and other goes into a normal engineering college. So how Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge from Bhagavad Gita that they are not the only doer, they are co-doers. The other two doers are the Daiva, their karma and Kala. Their karma and Kala. And one is our endeavor. So there are three doers, three main doers. We saw there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 also about that. We saw with an example of a farmer sowing the seed and waiting for the rains to come. And then rain coming of rain is karma. And after rain also the farmer has to wait some more time for the crops to grow. And then at the end, finally, it's the result. So we need to understand we are not the only doer. That worldview that I am the doer, I am the whole and soul doer. Even one of the most developed country in United States, so many people are in depression, and depression medicine is over the counter available, which is not available in India like that. In India, you have to get a prescription from the doctor, but in US you can get it over the counter. Why? Because people think that I am the only doer. If this is not happening, it's because of me. And there's something wrong with me. And somehow I'm not able to fix it. So they take all the blame, all the responsibility, everything on themselves. No, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, you must perform your duty. And then wait. If it is there, you'll get it. If it is not there, it will not get it. Then in the last class, Shama he described the conversation about two people who Ram and Sam. They meet, and Ram is what? He believes in God, and Sam is atheist. He doesn't believe in God. Ram is theist. So then their conversation goes. Sam says that Sam raises some of the points like, I used to believe in God, but I do not believe in God now. In childhood, I used to believe it. So, and he says, I believe in heaven. He says, but I don't know if it exists. Such statements he starts making. So, he says, I believe in Big Bang Theory. I believe in Big Bang Theory. The universe came from a blast, which happened on an infinite amount of energy, infinite amount of scale, and infinite amount of mass was produced out of it. Such claims, they believe in Big Bang Theory. Why? So my question is, how did we arrive here? How did we arrive here? Meaning, how did we arrive a nation, or typically talking about Bharat Varsha, India, the land of India, where if we just go back 500 years back, we would see all of them were God conscious. Even before Mughals invaded or Britishers invaded, India was a very rich country in terms, not just in terms of wealth, but in terms of culture, knowledge. Big universities as compared to Harvard and MIT were there. Nalanda University, Takshashila University. All the people from across the world used to come there to study. And what happened? How did we arrive here in such a state where people from our country are going outside and we are so much influenced? So I just wanted to know your opinion. How did we arrive here? And why it is important to know how did we arrive here, so that we make note of such things and do not get entangled or do not make same mistakes again. So it's important for us to know how did we arrive here. And most of us, many of us are still going in the wrong direction. See, running fast is not a problem, but if you're running fast in an in a wrong direction, you will reach your wrong destination quickly, more quicker. That's it. So today's world, everyone is running fast here and there, but for what? Are we running in the right direction? So how did we arrive here? That's a question I'm posing to all of you, and now I want to know your opinion.
What is the question? I didn't follow. Sorry.
We arrive here meaning 500 years back, India was considered a country which was rich in culture and heritage and wealth. Most of the people in India 500 years ago, or even beyond that, were God conscious. But now, we discuss some examples. A couple from Pune not following the laws mentioned in our scriptures, or a conversation that we followed yesterday. It's a very common conversation that we come across between Ram and Sham, where Sham says, I was believing in God. I'll give you one example. In my hometown, when I visited a couple of years back, I heard one of my neighbors passed away. And my mother visited their house, and the scene, that person had two daughters, one 13 and one 16 years old. So what was happening in their house? The daughter had created a chaos, meaning she was throwing away the idol of God outside her home, saying, no, God doesn't exist. He's so ruthless. He took away my dad. That is one thing. So how come our faith has become so fragile? What has happened? How did we arrive here? What do you think? Is that question clear now, Niti?
Yes.
Yes, I
Yes.
think it's clear.
My voice audible proper?
Yes, it's
Yes,
your voice
your
is
voice.
clear.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to know
So,
your thoughts.
I feel that the knowledge or the understanding or whatever our ancestors had not passed away to the next generations. And so whatever like our ancestors have followed with respect to the spiritual matters, or like whatever they did, that has not been passed on properly. I cannot tell when it has exactly stopped or when it has like reduced, but over the period of time, right? So like if it is not, if it is like half passed on to the next generation, to the third generation, it is like 25%. So that is how like it has reduced, like then all along the way, now it is we don't have it anymore. Like
Makes sense.
like people at this point in time are not really understanding the importance of the spiritual things, or like importance of that whatever we had, that importance has already been lost. And that is like so that is why like we have been in this situation at this point in time.
Good. Thank you. Okay, more. I want everyone's participation. They will keep this as a discussion rather than just a one-way talk. I've been saying that. So I'll stop presenting. Maybe everyone can turn on their videos so I can see everyone, and that way it's more interactive.
So this is
Thank
Purvi.
you. Yeah, Purvi.
In my opinion, it's a combination of our karma and, you know, our destiny, both, right? Like, um, you know, over the course of the years, you know, when the right things are not done, or what we think is right, but it's not really, you know, spiritual, and, you know, really the things that are, you know, good or in the um, right direction, I think that causes the result as to whatever, you know, happens at the end. So that's what I believe.
We are saying it's karma. It's our karma because of that.
Karma, karma and destiny, like sometimes no matter how
Hmm.
much, like we talked about in last session, right, that there are things that um, we said that what's the difference between destiny and karma, that things that you get without any effort. So sometimes, you know, it's just written, right, that okay, this is what's gonna happen in spite of, you know, how hard you have worked towards that or not. You may or may not get it, and that is your destiny. But at the same time, you know, we can't leave everything on the destiny either. You have to work hard, and you have to give all your positive and whatnot in the right and, you know, manner, right? And then you have to leave it to God that if it is written for you, it's gonna happen. If it is not, you're not gonna get it. So like to coming back to your question, you know, maybe the things that were done over the course of the years, you know, were either not right, or, you know, it was written that, you know, the chakra, right, it's a circle, you know, good thing, bad thing, good thing, bad thing, it keeps, you know, evolving. That is what I think.
Okay, makes sense, Purvi. So she's talking about the doers, karma, and our endeavor, and kala, daiva. So yeah, there are extremes. So people take sometimes karma as extremes. She said that it shouldn't be that it is just because of our karma. And some people think, okay, if it is in my karma, I'll get it. Or sometimes we say people to come to temple. So they say, oh, जब भगवान बुलाएंगे तब जाएंगे. So Bhagwan to God doesn't. When God calls me, I'll go to temple. But does God tell you to eat? No, right? Does God tell you to wear clothes? No. Then why do you depend for such things on God? So they just depend. Those are extremes. When time will come, we'll do that. It's not the right time. I'm just in my 30s. Bhakti and devotion to God is meant for those who are in 60s and 70s. Time will come when we'll do. But when we'll go old, we'll do bhakti, we'll do devotion for God. But how do you know who's old? Let's say I'm 35 years old, and one person is 90-year-old. But let's say if something happens to me tomorrow, and I die. So who is older? We cannot say who's when. I do not know if 35 is old enough for me or 90 is old enough for that person. He may go on, live up to 110, 120, and I may die in next 1 year. Who knows? We do not know. So that's why we shouldn't wait for time also, when time will come. Also, the things we have not practiced for our entire life, how do we expect that we'll get it, start doing that at the end, fag end of the life? If I have to learn playing guitar, I've been trying to learn to play guitar, let's say. Its best age to learn any musical instrument is when you are between 8 to 15. You learn quickly, you have time, you have that energy, and you learn it at the age of 8 to 15. You can practice it entire life. You can participate in college functions, you can participate in cultural events or stage dramas or whatnot. But when you practice it at the end of your life, when you're 60 or 70, what's the use of it? Where are you going to use it? The body starts giving up on you. So you do not even have. So yeah, any other points?
So Chintan, Pooja here.
Yeah.
So yeah, what I feel is in Kali Yuga, like different people have forgotten, or not all, but not generalizing, but by far because of all the technological advancements and because of technology, etc. People have forgotten to draw a line between needs and wants. So the satisfaction level or the happiness level that was probably we saw like maybe 100 years back. Happiness is a state of mind, right? So the like back then people were content with whatever they had. So that's my personal view. I may be wrong, but like now I see like today's generation, everyone is just running after things that they feel, again, the sense of doership is definitely there, but they feel that they can race against anything. Absolutely. I mean, hence the more you feel that you are in control of things, the more the ego comes into the picture, and the more away you move from your inner god, or like whatever god you believe in. So hence it's a matter of faith also. So hence, like nature has its course of teaching you lessons time and again, so that it is ingrained in you finally, that you are not in control whatsoever. Even your next breath is not in your hands. So and now, I mean, corona is a classic case, right? I mean, we are seeing that every day right now, how each one of us has realized that we feel that we are so technologically advanced, but no, like all of us had to sit at home for so many months. So that is like the classic example of how we are a big zero in front of the divine power that's there.
Yeah.
And that's my answer of how we are different in terms of what those people were like 100 years back.
Yeah. So you're saying the technological advancement and all these influences have taken us away, or the comforts of life has taken us away from God.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Very
People think they
wonderful
can
point.
kind of, like make money, do
Control.
whatever. And then, yeah, that sense of control, I've seen it a lot in like, not really pinpointing with one individual or the other, but with the generation at large, because like everyone is just racing, and they feel that, oh, they can reach great pinnacles, great heights, this, that. Like, I agree with the putting in efforts. I mean, definitely that is there. All of us should strive for it. But at the end of the day, you need to really be thankful for whatever your blessings are. And, there's a bigger or higher force out there who knows much more than you. And you should be grateful for that force rather than your own efforts. Like efforts everyone puts in, but that divine grace is the differentiating factor. Like how two people, if they give an interview, like even if one person is more knowledgeable, it's not always the one who gets the job. Like sometimes the other one can end up getting a job, and it boils down to who doesn't, or rather who knows more doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's like divine grace that comes into the play. That's my personal take.
Right. Thank you, Pooja. Wonderful point you made. Right now, the things are like, hey Google, turn on the lights. Hey Google, what's the weather outside? Hey Siri, I want to go to such and such place. Tell me what's the distance between sun and moon, between earth and moon. So all these things on my fingertips, or on my fingertips, I have so many things. I start thinking that I am the controller. This is it. I am the controller. But actually, we have very, or actually no control over the things that are happening. Like Pooja mentioned the example of corona pandemic. No matter how much we try, all the nations are practically trying daily to come up with a vaccine, but they are unable to come up with a vaccine, and people are dying every day. Thousands and thousands of people are dying. Yeah, so thank you, Pooja. Anyone else wants to, how did we come here? How did we
Chintan,
arrive
this
here?
is Sona. So, my view, I feel like over the years, and it's a little bit different angle and perspective, but I feel over the years, just as a country, if I just talk about India specifically, there's been so many rulers and so many dynasties or whatever, with every one of those and every one of those cycles, that have sometimes lasted, whatever, 50 years or 100 years of ruling. I think that's taken away from our traditional sort of values and things. But that's just my view, and I feel that's how things have evolved to where they are now.
Wonderful point, Sona, actually. Wonderful point, because India was such a rich country. Practically everyone wanted to invade India, and they did also. Mughals did, Alexander tried, Britishers did, and in all of that, Britishers wanted to make Indians, Indian Englishmen. I'll show you a video on that. I have that video shortlisted for today's talk. And Mughals wanted to convert everyone to Muslim. They started destroying our temples, our scriptures. Yeah, valid point. Any other? I saw Niti doing unmute. Niti, was there a point?
Yeah, I mean, I felt that in olden days, if you read, old books, you'll realize that everything people did had a meaning to it. The way they ate certain food had a meaning to it. The way they did rituals in the morning or whenever evening, there was a meaning to it, and that got passed down from generations. But I think somewhere along the way, as technology and other things hit us, we suddenly wanted a reason for everything. Like, I remember my mom telling me, oh, you don't wash your hair on Thursdays, or you don't wash clothes on Thursday. And I asked her why, but she said, oh, that's how it is. But so I think at that point, especially when we were younger, it was like, oh, why shouldn't I do it? I'm going to do it. There's no reason why I shouldn't do it. All days are same. But now that you get, a little more maturity and understanding, okay, there is reason to it. Maybe she was not able to explain it. Maybe she never questioned her mother.
Right.
But the so much advancement around us that we have seen, it changed from acceptance. We became more logical, and we wanted reason for everything. And I think especially our generation, we don't know those rituals that well, that our grandmothers and those people knew, unfortunately. But it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's a very amazing point that you have made, Niti, because see, it is important to ask questions also. We cannot blindly trust anything. So you did the right thing. And probably we do not want the same thing to happen with our kids. That is why we should be well equipped, like Shama Prayasi was telling in the last class, that her 10-year-old son asks her some questions, and if she doesn't know, she has to research and get him the answer. So yes, there are rituals, and each one of them has a meaning and purpose behind it. So, but the biggest thing that has a purpose behind it is our life. So we need to know what's the purpose of life, what's the ultimate goal of life. And if we know it, we can pass it on. If we do not know it, forget about passing it on to our future generations. So very, very important point Niti made there. And that is so relevant in today's world, because it is said that everyone wants a Bhagat Singh, but in neighbor's house. Similarly, we want knowledge, and we want our kids to know, but we do not want to ourselves know. So it's important, because kids follow us, the future generation follows us very closely. They actually, we observe each and everything closely. So if we are equipped, they will be equipped. They'll learn from us. Yeah, very good point. Anyone else wants to make a point? How did we arrive here? Okay. So I have noted down some points, and I'll share those points with you. See, religion without philosophy is sentiment or fanaticism, while philosophy without religion is mental speculation. So, when we start following religion, the point that Niti was mentioning, we start following the rituals without philosophy, without understanding, it's just a sentiment. And we people want to know why we are doing what we are doing. Let's say it is said that on Dwadashi, you shouldn't touch a tulsi plant. Why I am allowed to touch tulsi plant all over the month, but not on Dwadashi, that is the day after Ekadashi? Well, the scriptures give the reason that on Ekadashi, Tulsi is the uh, is the coordinator for the services for Krishna in the spiritual world. So on Ekadashi, which is the favorite day of Krishna, she's so busy serving Krishna that she's tired. That is why we do not touch her or disturb her on Dwadashi, the day after Ekadashi. So once people know that, oh, there is a reason behind so and so things, it's not just a ritual, it has some philosophy behind it. So religion without philosophy is sentiment or fanaticism, while philosophy without religion is mental speculation. Like philosophy, Darwin gave a theory that, okay, I think whale came from bear. How come whale came from bear? Because bear for hunting fishes, he was swimming in the lake, and over the course of time, the bear changed to whale. Ridiculous idea. It's a mental speculation. This was said by the founder Acharya of ISKCON, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And I have some points here. What are the impacting factors? So some of you have already covered these points. I'll just reiterate. I think most of the points are covered by what you all said. Destruction of Indian education system. So when Britishers invaded India, they thought that this is a rich country and everyone is so ethical. How to break them? The backbone of this country is their education system. We have to break it. I'll show you one video on this. Just give me 1 minute. Let me pause there. They systematically tried to make Indians ashamed about their own education system. So there was a systematic plan laid out by the Britishers, laid out by the Mughals to destroy the culture of India, to destroy the backbone of India. And that is one of the factors why we are here, where we are. So they interpreted Sanskrit. They started calling our text as mythology, meaning Hanuman took a mountain and flew from the north to the south. Are you kidding me? That's a fairy tale story. That's mythology. That's the term, that's the word they coined for it. Mythology. Even that term is used today also in Kaun Banega Crorepati, or Who Wants to Be the Millionaire version of the US, which runs in India. They many times use this word according to Indian mythology. Who is Sita, or some question. So they would put that word, mythology. Mythology comes from myth, which is a myth, which is not a reality. It's just a fairy tale story. So they started laughing at Indians that you think a dead person can become alive. Sanjeevani Booty, does it have that potency? That cannot be true. All those things then Indians started feeling ashamed about their own culture and education. Then next point is secular country. Then the government changed in 1947. And what they wanted to do, they wanted to make India a secular country where each and every religion is given equal respect. But on the name of secularism, what was done, each and every religion was cut out what they were doing, meaning the sacred places that the river Ganges or Yamuna, all those the sacred holy places where people used to visit, they were intentionally kept unclean so that less people visit there. Less people believe in God, more consumption increases. That's the, if people believe in God, they are content. They do not need more things. And if they do not need more things, the consumption of the country goes down, the GDP goes down, then how do we progress? All those numbers and mumbo jumbo, they started coming up with that. So on the name of secularism, they should have given equal weightage, or okay, make mosques for Muslims, make churches for Christians, make temples for Hindus. No, we will not do anything for any religion. That was the definition of secularism. So the government that came to power or that has been in power didn't deal with this situation properly, or no weight was given to this, that we are losing our culture, we are this is going away from our, this slipping of our hand. Influence from West, Britishers made such an influence on Indians that till date Indians feel that they are not, somehow Westerners are superiors. If some Westerners does that thing, oh, then it makes sense. Otherwise, if we do it, it doesn't make sense. Then came the era of television, internet. So then Britishers destroyed it to an extent. Then came the era of television. Earlier, people in India wouldn't have television at their home. Then slowly they were given television. Then even if they had television, they would not see it. So to attract people to television, they had to put serials like Ramayana, Mahabharata, Krishna, all those serials they had to put out. That attracted people towards television more. And once they were attracted to television, they started putting all the garbage into the television. Then television destroyed it. Then internet, then Bollywood, Hollywood, and then mobile phone destroyed it. So what took Britishers 250 years, that was done by television in 20 years, that was done by internet in 10 years, Bollywood in 5 years, and mobile phone in 1 year. I'll show you one video which is from Bollywood, how they affect, okay, 1 minute, let me pause recording. How the definitions of happiness were changed. This is just one random song I have picked.
ਅੱਜ ਬੋਤਲਾਂ ਖੁੱਲਣ ਦੋ दारू ਸ਼ਾਰੂ ਡੁੱਲਣ ਦੋ ਵਿਸਕੀ ਦਾ ਪੈਗ ਲਗਾ ਕੇ ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਭੁੱਲਣ ਦੋ ਪਾਰਟੀ all night party all night party all night we do party all night सुन लो सारी दुनिया वालों जितना भी तुम जोर निकालो करेंगे पार्टी सारी रात मैं तो बंद करवा लो party all night party all night party all night we do party all night सुन लो सारी दुनिया वालों जितना भी तुम जोर निकालो करेंगे पार्टी सारी रात मैं तो बंद करवा लो
So this is, I just don't want to play the entire song. This is one of the ways. This is how, and this is why it is important. This is why it is important for us to understand how we are being fed with all this information. In that 1 minute, we saw people drinking alcohol, pouring alcohol, partying all night, and women in very bare minimum clothes, practically no clothes. Objectification of women is happening, and we see this day in, day out. And we feel that obviously we do not have knowledge. What do you think a college kid would think looking at this? Oh, this is what happiness means like. This is what means to be happy. So I probably go to club. I should go to club, drink alcohol, and be with women, and girl thinks I should be with boys. This is how we are being systematically fed all the garbage in our head. It's a GIGO principle, garbage in, garbage out. You see garbage, your activities are going to be garbage like. All the basis of our culture were destroyed in that video in just 1 minute. Party all night. This world is a place to party. What's the purpose of life? It is to party. It is not to know scriptures. It is not to understand what's the purpose of life. And big Bollywood stars, because media makes them as big as gods themselves, people with relatively less intelligence start following them. I heard one girl, just because Sushant Singh Rajput committed suicide, she committed suicide as well. They think they put the actors at such a height. So this is, and why it is important for us to see and recognize and acknowledge, because we do not want to make same mistakes. GIGO principle, garbage in, garbage out, we want to use it the other way, good in, good out. We want to put knowledge from the scriptures. We want to hear things from the saintly people. We want to hear and read what our Vedas say, what Bhagavad Gita says. It is not in our curriculum. In school, we are never taught, because it's a secular country. Okay, you give them options, you give them, but make it, foreign countries are making Bhagavad Gita mandatory in their schools, but India hasn't made any progress on that front, because we are a secular country. Bhagavad Gita is still not even the national book of India. ISKCON made an attempt through Sushma Swaraj a couple of years back. We didn't get they put it for voting, and guess what? Indians didn't vote for Bhagavad Gita to be national book. Indians, Bhagavad Gita didn't get.
Not known, right? It is not, the knowledge has not been transitioned to the generations. No, how do they know that it is like very important to have the knowledge of Bhakti? Somebody has to tell. Or like we have to see something, like we have to be in the situation to understand the things that, and we are lacking in the understanding, right? Then how do souls know? They don't know.
How do?
I mean, how do we know, right? Each and every soul should know the importance of Bhagavad Gita. Since it is not known, they don't vote for it actually.
Yeah, that's the work we are doing now. We are making people understand what the hidden gems are there in Bhagavad Gita, discussing that, going slowly, verse by verse, and then it has lost. What has been done, that is done. We have to always look forward. But the reason we are looking at all this is that we do not want to commit the same mistake again. And then influence from society. The last point is influence from society and friends. So I remember in engineering college, I haven't had non-vegetarian my entire life, but if you do not eat non-vegetarian food, you are being ridiculed that oh, you do not eat chicken. It's just like paneer. Eat it. Just think of it as paneer and eat it. But why should I eat it? For my tongue, why should I need to kill one animal? So that basic understanding also people don't have. The unless and until our foundation, I was I was lucky enough to have born into a pious family, so my fundamentals were strong. I didn't give up on eating didn't give up. I didn't succumb to the pressure of my friends and society to smoke or to drink or to eat non-veg food. So that was the thing. So what this has led us into is, this is our position in a pictorial way. See, in this tree, a man is hanging from a branch, and there is a honeybee here. There are a lot of bees, and there is honey dropping from here, and he is trying to lick that honey. There are two mouses, one white and one black, on the branch. One elephant who is trying to uproot the tree, and there are snakes waiting that if you fall down, we are going to bite you. But in all of this, he's still interested in the drops that are falling from that honeycomb. So this is to define it in terms of our day-to-day life. These mouses, black and white, they represent the day and night. And see here, they are actually cutting the branch. So that is because the duration of life is going to end because of the day and night, the movement of day and night. One day it's gonna go down and we are going to fall here. And here the God is extending the hand, but he's so busy in licking honey, he does not paying attention to God itself, God himself. This elephant represents the death, that the death can come anytime. The elephant can uproot the tree anytime. It's not a big deal for elephant to uproot a tree. And the snakes represent the day-to-day obstacles we face, and the bees also represent the day-to-day problems in life that we come across. But in all of this, we are busy licking the few drops that are falling from here, and we are happy doing that. Most of the people are happy doing that. We are in a very precarious condition. If you can call it, it's a third stage cancer that we have. Cancer of what? Cancer of nescience. That's our condition. So what happens if we do not believe in God? That's the question. Now I want your answers. What happens if we do not believe in God? There are people, 90% of people, 95
We live a
maybe.
meaningless life, right? Because we'll not be able to understand what is the real purpose of life, or for what reason Krishna is making the souls to take birth. Actually, the whole point in taking birth is we have to exhaust the karma, and we have to become neutral, and then at that point in time life ends and the soul has to travel back to the universal and associate with the universal soul, which is like Krishna's soul, who is considered as the universal soul. But due to the, I mean, like we feel that the materialism that we see in this environment or like in the universe is like, it is like so much good, or like it is like it's like we feel that it is like sophisticated, and we really, that is not letting us to think about the liberation or really about the entire purpose of life. So if we don't believe in God, we don't follow like what he has already like told, or like whatever like that has been given in the scriptures, then like we deviate from the way we live the life, right? So like we live in the own way, we commit the mistakes in our like in life, and then like we regret for it. We really don't, it is like a meaningless life. Like we don't make our life meaningful. At the end of the life, what happens is like the entire purpose is lost, and the souls like continuously it goes up, takes a different body and comes down. It goes up, takes a different body and comes down, which means that there is no way for the liberation. The whole point is like at one point in time, like we have to be liberated.
Okay.
In like one or
Makes sense.
two lives, we have to be liberated. That is the whole point. Like he says that at some point in time, we should only feel him. So at that point in time only, like I should be able to take you. That is what he says. Like until you feel comfortable with whatever you have, like you have the luxurious life, you have all the sophisticated things with you, like you don't really think about you don't really long for me. Then why do I take you with me, right? So how does the realization will come? Once we start practicing only, the realization will come.
Yeah, fair point, Padma. Thank you. So Padma is saying that then it's a meaningless life. If you do not believe in God, then it's a meaningless life. What happens if you do not believe in God? Anyone else wants to give it a try? What happens if we do not believe in God? So is God like providing only for those who are theists, those who believe in him? Or he is providing for everyone? If he is providing for everyone, then why should I care? He is anyways going to provide me. There is an atheist who breathes. I also breathe. He gives oxygen to both. There is an atheist who is doing much better. He is a millionaire. There are billionaire who are atheists, who do not believe in God. Then what's the use? So what happens if I do not believe? What is the actual thing that happens if I do not believe in God? Anyone wants to make a comment? Yes, Pooja.
Is it like, it's not exactly to answer your question, but is it like how Krishna answered Arjuna in terms of action? Like if you do not choose to do the action, I'll choose someone else who is ready to do the action. So if you don't want to believe in me, giving you the example of the atheist, the believer versus the non-believer, then probably, I mean, he extends his hand to the ones who believe in him, something like that. So the grace automatically flows into the ones who believe in him.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see so after this question, I am going to show you the Bhagavad Gita perspective. What Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita about it. That is why we'll reconcile how close we are. And that's why, so if we try to attempt these answers, we'll remember it for a long time. And we'll be able to imbibe it in our day-to-day life. That is why I'm encouraging you to come up with the answers and involve and discuss as much as possible. So Pooja, yeah, very nice answer. And anyone else wants to try?
So this
Kiran?
is Purvi.
Yeah, Puru.
I think if you don't believe in God, that's where, like we talked about earlier, right? You start feeling that I am everything, right? Because when you don't believe, and we don't have to necessarily say like God and stuff. It's like the supreme power, right? There is someone who is behind everything, right? Like we talked about that no matter this many scientists effort and what have you, but the vaccine is not out. So there is definitely that divine supreme power. So if you're not believing in God or supreme power or whatever, at that point in time you become that what do you call ego or ahankar, right? That oh, I am everything, I can do. I'm again going back to the doer thing, that I have everything. And that's when, like, you start doing the things that are not spiritual or that are not the right things. And then eventually I think it comes to a full circle that okay, you don't do right things at the right time, and then you regret afterwards, and then you feel like, oh, I need help. I God, come help me at that point in time, or like, whoever, come help me. So I feel like if you don't believe in God, one, obviously your life is meaningless, because at that point in time it's like everything aham brahmasmi, I'm everything. And
Hmm.
then when you have that in your head, that is when you become like egoistic and like all the bad tattvas. So that's what I feel.
Okay, yeah. So Purvi has a very nice point that she says that you start thinking yourself the controller, your ego goes high, and then you start doing the wrong things, and then at the end of doing wrong things, then you regret it. Then you again cry for God. Okay, makes sense. Anyone else? Ram, Kiran, Priyanka, they haven't said anything today. Sona.
So Chintan, this is Sona. I would just probably add, I think having that sort of sense of God is, having faith in somebody higher up above. And in a way, when things are not going right, they're obviously not in our control. But that hope of, if you pray and if you sort of like sit down and meditate and whatever, I think it's all tied to like your hope of things getting right, or things going in your favor. So at least it gives you that kind of hope, and faith as well. So if you remove
Hmm.
that, I feel like people get directionless, or they move towards whatever, negative things. So I feel like that's just my personal view. I just feel like that sense of faith or hope and presence of God in that sense in your life helps you get rooted to something that's more spiritual and more positive, versus of course all the getting into drugs or whatever, getting towards on the negative side. I think that for me, I would say, is the importance.
Okay, so Sona is saying having faith in God keeps my faith alive, uh, helps me not to go towards a negative trajectory. Okay, so anyone else wants to try, wants to give some input? Um, what Bhagavad Gita says. So in chapter 9, 20, verse 29, Krishna says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name deshosti na priya ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. Translation: I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. So the last few words that are highlighted in orange color, I am also a friend to him. So Krishna says, okay, fine, if you are not believing in me, I'm fine with you. That is fine. I envy no one. Neither am I partial to anyone. I'm not even partial to you. I do not have any ill feelings about you. I mean, I'm equal to you. I'm equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, and me is in me, and I'm also a friend to him. So let's say A billionaire has two sons. One son is a very obedient son, and he always listens to his father, and he does the exact same thing as the father has said him to do. The other son, on the other hand, is always angry on the dad for no reason, takes his dad for granted, and loiters his money, doesn't listen to him that much. So billionaire says, okay, you can stay in my home, you can eat what you like, you can do whatever you want, but the one I'm going to trust with is my this son who is always listening to me. I am a friend to him and he's friend to me. Think about having friendship with Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, or President of United States, Donald Trump, or Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau. Think about being friends with these influential people, or think about being friends with some celebrity. How much things you can do or get done. But we do not want to be friends with God just for our purpose. We want to be friends with God because that is our original position. We are his part and parcel. He says in Bhagavad Gita that all souls are my part and parcel. We originally belong to him. We saw it in the Discover Yourself 4th session, Shadow and Substance. The real substance is in the spiritual world. So our real home is there, but because of our rebellious nature, we have come into this particular place, which is a place for correction. And once we establish our relationship, then we become friends with God and we can render service to him. What do you get out of after being friends? You can render service. Whosoever renders service, it says. Sorry. Whoever renders service unto me in devotion. That is very important. Our original position is we are the servant of God. Our position is to render service unto him. But right now our position is, in material world, we think ourselves as the controller. That's the problem. That's the thing that is blocking us from moving ahead in this relationship. Then there is one more verse Krishna talks in Bhagavad Gita. This I have shown you already, but I'll still show it one more time. It's in chapter 18:58. What happens to those who do not listen to Krishna or doesn't follow? Macchitta sarva durgani mat prasada tarishyasi atha chetvam ahankaran nasroshyasi vinakshashi. Translation: if you become consciousness of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditional life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness but act through the false ego, some of you mentioned that we have that false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. My son, you will be lost. You are not giving me hand. You are still behind those few drops of honey. And anytime the elephant can uproot the tree and you will fall into that dungeon where there are poisonous snakes. That is what will happen to you. Is this a threat? No, this is not a threat. This is not any well-wisher will say this to you, that if you do not listen to me, you will be lost. Like I remember when I used to travel with my mother in train, she used to always say that don't take your hand outside the window. Don't take your hand outside the window. Otherwise, a pole will come and your hand will break. So is that a threat? No, it's not a threat. It's a warning. It's what will happen. Do's and don'ts. If you do this, this will happen. Any well-wisher will tell us that if you follow the traffic signal, you will not get a ticket. If you do not follow or park in the wrong way, you are going to get a ticket. Any well-wisher will say that. So he's our ever well-wisher. Krishna is our ever well-wisher. So this is the problem statement. So after discussing all this, we arrive at a problem statement. What is the problem statement? Most people have a profoundly superficial, illogical, and spiritually deceived beliefs. Their ideology and theology was internally inconsistent, morally vacacious, and intellectually threadbare, and pretty representative of many Indians, particularly younger people these days. It is a mishmash, khichdi. It's all about I am the controller. I think this should be like this or that. Millions of people try to make sense out of life with such a garbled understanding of reality. We see many philosophers or thinkers, great thinkers on YouTube or coming on talk channels, giving some big philosophy about life, that do what feels good to you, because that is the satisfaction we are looking for. That gives you inner peace. Such things people usually say. But that is okay. But how do I come out of this precarious situation where I can die anytime? The material world is a prison house, and Durga Devi, we say Durga Devi is the jail superintendent, and this material world is called Durg. Durg means a fort, and she is the jailer. But how do I come out of this prison house? Krishna says, okay, read this Bhagavad Gita. I'm giving you clear instructions how to come out of this. And then we have the plan. So I wanted to discuss the plan with you, but today we do not have much time. We just have 15 minutes left. I'll leave that 15 minutes for Q&A and the plan, how to come out of this. We have defined the problem statement. We know how we arrived here. Then we'll discuss the plan. What's the plan? Okay, you defined the problem, but where is the solution? We'll talk about plan next week. Remaining 10-15 minutes, we can have discussion on questions. And I'll ask any questions, or we can discuss. You can, if you want, we can discuss on. I can elaborate on any of the points we discussed. I do not want to complete plan in just 10-15 minutes. So that any realization or any one thing that if yeah, Pooja, you unmuted yourself. I'll give you a chance.
Chintan, it might not be totally relevant to today's discussion, but I have this question. I know you had brought this up in some way in the previous session, like one of the 5 sessions. But like we say that each one of us has some divine in us, right? So, so when we say that, is the statement like God is a part of each one of us, or each one of us is a part of God? Which one of that is true?
Each one of us is a part of God.
Okay, so God is a part of each one of us is not really true, is it?
God is with us always. Like there is a concept of Atma and Paramatma. He accompanies us as a super soul. So think about it like this. A billionaire, I'm a son of a billionaire, but I do not want to be with my billionaire dad. I want like, no, I want to establish something on my own. I tell my dad. And he says, okay, you go out there and try to do something you like. But he's so loving that he still accompanies me, and he keeps a close watch on me all the time. To keep a close watch on me, he accompanies me as a super soul. He's still with me. So God exists in 3 forms. Brahma Jyoti, which is the effulgence coming out of the body of the God. Paramatma, which is the super soul, where Kan Kan mein Bhagwan, we say that. In each and every atom, God is there. His presence is there. and Bhagwan, the personality of Godhead. So there are the three forms in which God is realized. We are part and parcel of God, but because we are his part and parcel and we have come into this material world, he accompanies us. He accompanies us in the form of a super soul. So Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Puran, there is a very good example or illustration that is given. There are two birds sitting on a tree, one on branch and other on another branch. One bird is always trying to eat some fruits on the tree. Sometimes he finds the fruit as bitter, sometimes sweet. And the super soul, which is the other bird, he's watching it, watching the bird doing all these activities. He's just continuously watching it. Continuously, not a blink of an eye. And when this bird is tired of tasting the bitter fruits, he turns towards the super soul and asks, what's going on? And then super soul intervenes and then tells, okay, you do this, try that one, do this, do this, do this. And this is the way you can reach to your ultimate destination. So yeah, he's there as an observer. He's there as a sanctioner also. Anything we do is sanctioned by God as the supreme personality, as a super soul sitting in our heart. Does that make sense, Pooja?
Yeah. So you said Atma and Paramatma, right? So like we are
Yes.
the Atma and super soul is Paramatma, like that, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And then over here, where does that conscience fit in? Like when you say conscience, is it Atma or Paramatma? Like which voice would be conscience?
Consciousness is over entirely what I feel in my body. Like if I pinch my finger or pinch my hand, I feel the pain. That is my consciousness. So entire ecosystem of mind, intelligence, my ego, soul, super soul, all this bodily, my senses, all this ecosystem in combined makes your consciousness.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Chintan. Yeah.
No problem. Anyone has any other questions, comments, any realization? So if someone after this call ends grabs you by your hand and says, what did you do in last 1 hour? What did you hear, or what was your takeaway? What is that one thing you'll say to that person? One line, any one line from every one of you, if possible.
I can say that in daily life, we have to practice, we have to make the spiritualism also as part of the day. Like we should not go with the materialism only, like eating, sleeping, or like doing the other works, like for earning money and then job. All that is fine. Like we have to associate our life spiritually too, so that so we gain the spiritual consciousness, or like we really understand the importance of our life. That is the takeaway, complete takeaway. Like it is not like we shouldn't be in thought that like, so okay, we have come down, like these are all our like regular duties, we have to focus on them. It is not like that. Like we have to make spiritualism also as a it is like one of the mandatory thing in daily life. That is how we have to practice, so that like we understand, and then like we associate ourselves with it, and by doing that, like eventually whoever is like to the surroundings also we provide the same. Also like our children or like whoever is like for whoever like we are becoming the especially for children, right, we are becoming the mirror for them. They learn everything from us. So like what we practice will make them to practice the same. So yeah, so we have to become a role model for them. So yeah, we have to develop our spiritualism too, along with the regular routine things in life.
Got it. Makes sense for me.
That is the whole point. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. You're nicely summarized. Pooja, I want, Pooja, you are saying something.
No, my takeaway from the past hour, Chintan, is this, that if you operate with your ego or false ego or whatever you call it, you will be lost. But if you surrender into me, you will definitely be guided at every single step.
Yeah. Very nice. I wanted to add one thing to the previous answer I gave you. God is realized in three forms: Bhagavan, Paramatma, and Brahman effulgence. Bhagavan is the form of Krishna, which is there. His activities are already going on, always going on in the planet Golok Vrindavan. He resides in a planet called Golok Vrindavan. And our goal of life or our spiritual practice is not to merge into the existence, because many philosophies are make reference to that, or are of the opinion that we can merge into the effulgence that is coming out of God, and then we will become God. So we are not of that. We are not going towards that, and that is not the right approach also. Our association with God exists as his servant, and we want to go back to the Golok Vrindavan and be in his company, or accompany him always and serve him as his servant in our form. Yeah, that is one point I wanted to add, because I mentioned three forms, so I didn't wanted you to confirm that, okay, out of these three, which is the one we are supposed to be with. So Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and Brahma, Lord Brahma, the creator of universe, describes how the spiritual looks like, what are the activities, how Krishna looks like. It is also described in the Bhagavad Puran, 10th canto, right from the birth of God to the activities of God, and everything is described. So God is a person, and we are his servant. That's the point I wanted to add. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else wants to add or put some points? I'll be happy to hear from you. Kiran has been very quiet today, and Ram has been quiet. Priyanka has been quiet. They haven't spoken anything. Sorry for pinpointing. Pooja, you have unmuted. Yes.
Yeah. In case the others don't have a question, then like I just have one more question. Maybe once, like if someone else has, I'll wait, Chintan, and then I'll ask.
Okay, so Ram, Kiran, Priyanka, Purvi, Sona, Niti, anyone? Padma already shared her realizations. Anyone wants to?
For me, I would say my takeaway is make God your best friend, and have that sort of connection where you're honest, and you can have that kind of connection. I think that's sort of my takeaway from this session.
Okay, so Priyanka is saying she missed the first half an hour, so not being able to understand the session well. Okay, so Priyanka, I'll share the YouTube. So I'll put this video on YouTube. I've recorded this session, so you can go through it, and maybe next week, once you have gone through it, this one and the previous one, because this is the third session. So I'm not sure if you have attended the first two. Have you attended the first two sessions, Priyanka? Second, okay. So I'll give you the link for first and third, all three of them, and Actually, it's on our YouTube channel. I'll give the link to the YouTube channel, and you can go through it. And maybe next week onwards, we'll have you as well participate in the discussion. So,
So this is
anyone?
Purvi.
Yes, Purvi.
I just wanted to piggyback on what Padma had said earlier, about spirituality that we have to have as a part of the routine. To piggyback on that and to add, I'd say that the time is now and the age is today. We do not have to wait that
Yes.
abhi I am young, मेरे पास time है और अरे आज नहीं कल करेंगे आज तो busy है. No, it has to start like now. And even for the children, you don't have to think that कि अभी ये छोटा है, he cannot understand. No, they will grasp based on their age and their understanding. So we have to continue putting that effort and we have to be consistent so that we can see it going in our generation. So it's like no age is the right age. It's like today. Like you
Yeah.
said, I guess Chintan earlier, na, कि you don't have to wait. कि अभी अभी ये सब संन्यास नहीं, we don't have to. But I think that's what I wanted to add.
That's an amazing. I loved it, Purvi, what you just said. When is the time to practice this? Now. Now is the time. Jab jago tab savera. Okay, we are not doing it since long, but somehow now, by some divine arrangement, I have come into contact with people who are sharing this knowledge. This knowledge, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this knowledge is very confidential knowledge, and not everyone follows this. In Bhagavad Gita, he says, out of thousands, one will come and follow this. That's why we do not expect many people also joining these sessions. But because we know what we are giving is gem, and not everyone can afford gem. So yes, the time is now. Now is the time. Whatever happened in past has happened. Even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, even if you have performed most abominable actions in your life, but if you start doing your devotional service, I'll forget about it. What has happened in his Krishna consciousness is very practical. And about the kids, you said kids are small, will they understand? No, that's not like that. See, you made the point that kids will understand. That's fine. In Bhagavad Puran, again, the story comes of Bhakt Prahlad, who is the son of Hiranyakashipu. Now, one may wonder, how can a demon like Hiranyakashipu have a son, a devotee son like Prahlad? So, Kayadu, when she was conceiving, she was kidnapped by the demigods, thinking that if the father is like this, what will be the son? So they kidnap her with the plan of killing her and the son. Narad Muni comes across the way and he says, what are you guys up to? They say, we are going to kill this. This is the son of Hiranyakashipu. And think about how much havoc the father and son are going to create in this world. Already the father is not letting us live. He says, no, he's going to be a devotee. I'll preach him. So Narad Muni continuously preaches to Kayadu. And Prahlad Maharaj hears from the womb. So the point I'm trying to make is the age is even before the birth, people start preparing for them. Like in IIT, for IIT preparation, when I was studying, people used to start preparation from 10th standard. 11th and 12th they study for IIT entrance exam. Now I'm hearing that they start preparation from 7th grade only. But Krishna consciousness preparation can be started even before your birth, and it is effective. Even in the womb, Prahlad Maharaj, he became so big devotee, one of the 12 Mahajans, authority on the devotion. He became such a big devotee because he was getting the knowledge from Nara. Yeah, thank you, Purvi. Anyone else? Otherwise, we take a question from Pooja. Okay. Pooja, yeah, you can ask your question.
Yes, Chintan. Chintan, I know we spoke about Bhagwan and Shri Krishna being like the guiding force, like through the discussions that we've had. And my question to you is, however, during liberation, whatever I have read, the books I have read or whatever, they often refer to Lord Shiva as the one who is, like the ultimate responsible, Shiva and Shakti, like the goddess and Lord Shiva is often referred to like for your final liberation. These two are the ones who are like the grantors of, the final stage. So I know that there will be, I mean, I don't know what the scriptures say as far this point is concerned. Like if you have any insights on that, I'll definitely love to know those.
Yes, and let me share a verse with you from Bhagavad Gita. That is the supreme authority on all this matter.
Okay.
I remember the verse, but
I think the destruction is being carried out by Shiva, but ultimately, like, yeah, the souls will be associated with the universal soul, who is like Paramatma, Vishnu.
here it is mentioned. I'll show you one more verse. Ete chams kalah pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Okay, in Bhagavad Puran. And what does this mean? Of all the above mentioned incarnations. So before this verse, there are many incarnations of God, that are mentioned. Of all the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. But Lord Shri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on the planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the theists. So this is one instance I gave you from Bhagavad Puran, and there is one more where in Canto 12, there is one verse where Nimna Ganam Yatha Ganga Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. 12, 13, 16, right? So I'll give you one more. So Shiva is actually, who does Shiva?
Vishnu to me, right? No, whatever I have seen from the Vishnu Puran, like Shiva is also being created by Vishnu only. Like from the once the Brahma has been created, Brahma is like arising from Vishnu, like, and he sits on the lotus flower. Like then he creates, from his soul, he creates Shiva also. That is what I have seen in Vishnu Puran.
Yeah, that is correct. Shiva actually comes from Brahmaji. Yeah. And there is again one more verse from Bhagavad Puran that gives us clear understanding of, people consider Shiva as the main tattva, but our scriptures, Bhagavad Puran, which is the topmost authority on all the Puranas, Vyasadeva actually compiled this after compiling everything. Then at the last he compiled this one to give the final product. What is the final? Nimna Ganam Yatha Ganga Devanam Achyuto Yatha Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu Purananam Idam Tatha. What does this mean? Just as Ganges is the best of all the rivers, Lord Achyuta, the supreme among deities, and Lord Shambhu, Shiva, the greatest of Vaishnava. See, the Lord Shambhu is the greatest of Vaishnava. What is Vaishnava? The worshippers of Vishnus are called Vaishnavas. So he is the best of the best of the best devotee of Krishna. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest of all Puranas. So this
Correct.
is again two things that are mentioned, killing, they say, two birds with one arrow. We also established the authority of Bhagavad Puran here. That Bhagavad Puran is the Srimad Bhagavatam that we are referring right now, is the greatest of all Puranas, and Shambhu, Lord Shiva, is the greatest of all Vaishnavas. Meaning is the supreme authority on the devotion when it comes to devotion. Now I'll give you one more reference. Chapter 4, 24 from Canto 4. If you read this, you will see chapter 24, chanting the song sung by Shiva. Now this is the song in this chapter. Shiva is just glorifying Krishna and establishing the authority of Krishna again and again and again. This one, how much he has mentioned about Krishna here. About 79 verses, but it starts from somewhere in the mid. He starts glorifying Krishna. My dear Lord, your two lotus feet are so beautiful. They appear like two blossoming. To whom he's saying? He's saying to Krishna here, like two blossoming petals of lotus flower, which grows during the autumn seasons. All that, my dear Lord, there are those who desire to purify their existence must always engage in meditation upon your lotus feet. Like that, all this is said by who said to whom? Shiva said to Krishna, my dear Lord, the king in charge of heavenly king is always desirous to obtain the ultimate goal of life. That is, what is the ultimate goal of life? Devotional service, to be servant. That's what I just mentioned, that our original position, our goal is to be servant. Similarly, even demigods in the heaven are looking to become servant. My dear Lord, your poor. So if you have time, you can take this, read this chapter, or I'll give you the other links also.
This one, Chintan, is a part of the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, the one that you're referring to right now?
This is Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Puran.
Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Thanks, Chintan.
I think both are same, right, Chintan? Bhagavata Puranam is like being called as like Bhagavad Gita, right? So at later point in time, Krishna is no?
No. Both are different. Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna, and he has given these instructions. He has given these instructions about what to do, what is your dharma, what you're supposed to do, what not to do, how to do it, and about Krishna, knowledge about Krishna is given in Bhagavad Puran. So testimony, like Dhruv Maharaj story.
Right.
What if you do bhakti, what happens? So Krishna said that do this, do this, do this. But what happens if I do this, do this? Do you have any testimony? Yes, I have testimony. So refer to Bhagavad Puran.
Okay.
That is why. So Bhagavad Puran is a very elaborative text of. It has stories of Prahlad Maharaj, the stories that I just mentioned, Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu, Dhruv Maharaj, story of Puranjan, and all those different. So it is a very elaborative text. I just gave one link of one chapter. Actually, the Veda-based library, if you go, you will find all the scriptures that we are following. I didn't paste it here. I didn't paste it. So yeah, this is the one chapter I was referring to, and this is the link. I'll give you the link to the Veda base, so you can go and read Bhagavad Gita if you like. You can go and read.
Can you please send the links in WhatsApp too?
Sure, I'll send it in WhatsApp.
And the other question I have is why is that only during the Mahabharatam, I mean, before Mahabharatam has happened, this Bhagavad Gita was not given to the world, right? So it is that point in time?
No, it was given. Let me show you.
Okay. So then we are not still aware of when it has been directly given to the mankind. But we only know about the Mahabharata. That time only Krishna started narrating it too.
In this fourth chapter, Krishna says, this is the chapter's transcendental knowledge. He says, Imam Bhagavan Vacha, Imam Vivashvan Yogam Proktavan Avyayam Vivashvan Manave Prahu Manurikshvaka Vibhavit. Meaning, the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to sun god Vivashvan, and Vivashvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. Then what happened? Okay, we'll see. Then this supreme science was thus received through the disciplic chain, through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in the course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it appears to be lost. So he gave it to the world earlier. Then that very ancient science of relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and therefore can understand the transcendental mystery of the science. And then Arjuna raises a very important question. He says, the sun god Vivaswan, Arjuna said, the sun god Vivaswan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning? So sun is billions of years old. How you are just of my age? How did you give it to sun god? Then how am I to understand this in the beginning? You instructed this science to him. Then Krishna says, oh no, Arjuna. The personality of God says, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot remember, O Sagduvara, because I am Bhagwan. So I remember, you do not remember.
Okay. Okay. So it is in that way it has happened. Like it has been lost at a point in time. It has not been transitioned to the generations from our superior ancestors. Say in the Ishwagukula only, like Lord Rama has actually born. Yeah, actually, Treta Yuga, and then like in Dwapara Yuga, at the end of the Dwapara Yuga only, like Krishna has appeared, and then like he has narrated it to Arjuna. But yeah, till then the kings, whoever has ruled in Treta Yuga, and all, like it has been followed by them. Then at a certain point in time, it has been lost in the universe due to the change of the Yuga, and it has been again reinforced by Krishna in the epic called Mahabharata to Arjuna.
Yeah, and we can see how much changes have occurred in last 500 years. India was ruled by Mughals, by Britishers, and then by so many different parties in India. In these 500 years only, we have lost so much knowledge. This knowledge given to Ikshwan at the beginning of the universe was billions of years ago, and this is lost. So it's not an what you call no amazement. It's not no ascharya nahi hai. This is not a astonishing fact that this knowledge was lost. Okay, it was lost somehow, but yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Whenever there is downfall in the dharma, I come. That's what he says in Bhagavad Gita. I come to uplift the dharma again. That's why Krishna came and gave this knowledge again. Also, Arjuna was not like Arjuna didn't know anything. It was because of Yog Maya he couldn't understand. Because of Yog Maya he was temporarily covered with this knowledge, but so that he could ask question and people like us can understand it. Because he asked a question like a beginner to Krishna. That's why that gave the if questions are thrown at Krishna, he can answer it. Then he answered it very nicely. And that knowledge is all documented by Vyasdev and given to us. Now it's coming in the disciplic chain to us. So just because Bhagavad Gita is very readily available, it's available on our mouse clicks, that doesn't make it less precious. These books are far more worthier than their weight in gold. So just because it's online available, it doesn't reduce their importance. Yeah. Anyone else has any other questions? Okay, then we'll wrap up for today. We had a very nice discussion today. I loved it, and I love to have this in the upcoming weeks also. Please continue to attend these sessions. I cannot emphasize more how important it is for us to come together like this and discuss and progress in our journey towards the spiritual goal we have. Thank you everyone for joining. I wish to see you all next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Chintan.
Thank
Good
you.
evening. Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chintan.
Thank you.